talked about Ben Simmons as a screener and a roller a little bit more. When he does that, how does that change the dynamic for you guys offensively when you've got a 6'10" point forward doing that?
Well, the starting point when we talk about this, because when we put it in an isolated vacuum, you're like, okay, that makes sense. Ben Simmons is Blake Griffin and he's a roller, and that's wonderful. But it's influenced by the other people. Where are you putting, the other people? And without getting into too much coach speak, if you say put him in the middle of the floor as a screener, how are you spacing a traditional middle pick and roll? If you put him on a sideline, mightn't that be a little bit more intelligent in relation to where you put Boban, say? And so Ben is a screener, that's great, but the pieces behind it and what you do with the players positionally, and is it on a side, is it a middle, is it an angle, step-up thing, there's thought, and is driven out of spacing. Where do the other players belong and where can they be most successful? And so it's true, we put Ben in more pick and rolls the last game. We've been evolving that way. And we'll continue to look at different things with him doing it, but the pieces behind it are more sort of complicated than just the notion that he is the screen setter.
Right, you said, you talk to the doctor and see if you can do further damage. Is it right now just pain threshold, or?
You know what, Keith, and I do hear that. I just don't want to talk any more about Joe. Like, you guys know what I know, and really I'm leaving this to the team, to share the information that you deserve to have. But as it relates to me, I'm a recipient of the news, and I coach accordingly.
Right, you said that Greg would go if Joe can. What do you like there about him and with the starters?
Physicality, size, veteran, adult, really. And if you looked at his game, had he had finished like he normally does, and I think he was fouled on probably 3 of those misses, then we all walk out of this place saying, that's a hell of a game for somebody that kind of was welcomed into the team, 2 weeks ago. And so if Joel does not go, then I feel like I'd be foolish not try to repeat what was successful for us the last game. And to answer your question, John, more, I see it like that. Had he had finished, we all would have been walking out. He said, wow, because I thought he had a really good game anyways. I think Alvin Brand did an excellent job of bringing him to us and letting him, Greg, see, like, maybe this is a good place for me where you just don't know. Maybe I can get in a game and impact it. And I thought he did the last game.
But you talked about the players reacting to whether Joel's going to be in the starting lineup. Has that heightened their state of readiness and made them even better, more focused kind of thing?
The rules change. We all understand the dynamics and the style of play with Joel Embiid and without Joel Embiid are different. Responsibility is different. And you would think, like, okay, no Joel, and I said this the last game, it's like the scoring becomes not bothersome, but it ends up being who's going to take that absence of, maybe 30 whatever points. And how is that going to be distributed? And so Tobias the other night goes 6 for 6 from the 3-point line. JJ has a heck of a game. Jimmy's more, facilitator and a distributor, but still had a hell of a game. And so the ecosystem of you've got Joel, Joe's getting the ball. You're probably more of an interior type team versus he's not playing. You're more of a, kind of a free-flowing spread team, an up and down team in that style. And so this is the challenge, like how do you take the best of both worlds when he is playing? And, although we haven't played a ton of basketball together as a starting group, that is our challenge to combine the best of both things that I just said. And that's where the challenge, I think, lies as it relates to the players.
Right, you're right. To follow up kind of on that and your remark earlier about the psychological aspect of the playoffs, in a game like Game 3 where Ben scores 31 points and Joel doesn't play, it's easy for an outsider to say, well, he knew Joel wasn't playing, he had to step up his game. Do you see a psychological component to that? Do you see that actually happening, or is it just kind of an easy thing to say, and that just comes out of the fact that what the Nets are doing on defense and what you guys are doing on offense and how players react to that? Like, is that psychological component there when Joel out, okay, we gotta play better?
I understand. And I think it is. How can it not be? You know, I think it is. And so, and I say that to the credit of Ben as an example, Tobias. You realize, you know, we're missing a significant piece to who we are and how we score. Boban and Greg have done a great job, I think, of maintaining a defensive presence at the rim. So we're lucky to be able to come back in with that type of size. But offensively, you know, there's a vacuum. There's a question mark. And I think that all of our players, to the question that was just asked, we recognize you're missing 30 points. And so thereabouts, maybe more. It wouldn't be much less, I would suspect. And so I think that area is fair and reasonable when teammates look, this is what we're missing, how do we help make that up?
Coach, with Ed Davis out, you're probably likely to see Rondae Hollis-Jefferson play as a small 5 against Boban. When you look back at Game 3, how did you view the trade-offs to Boban picking up a bunch of fouls versus the obvious advantages on the glass inside of the rim?
It always gets down to, I mean, the phrasing that comes out of my mouth the easiest is tolerance level. Like, what's the tolerance level, to your point? What's the trade-off? And my tolerance level is high. It is high in relation to when is it that punishing that Boban has no place in this game or series or whatever. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. As I have said before, my sort of surprise has been how good our bigs have been in transition defense. That's where I was most worried. Does it just be a track meet game where the sport runs by them? And I think transition defense, our bigs have been pretty good. To your point, when they put him in pick and rolls and they roll him out of it and Boban is sort of retreating, you know, trying to figure out, do I go make a play on D'Angelo or do I, you know, worry about the roller? There's a little bit of cat and mouse stuff there, but I think the trade-off is something I'm prepared to live with. My tolerance level is high, and I want to give Boban the benefit of the doubt that he can continue to make a difference as he has in this series.
Thanks, Brett.
Thank you.